pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councillor Geisler,
Here.
Councillor Jelly,
Here.
Councillor LeBlanc,
Here.
Mayor Boucher.
Sure. Announcements. Do councilors have announcements they'd like to make for the good of the order?
Nope.
I have one, on the Thursday, the 24th, we have the Taste of Hermantown again this year. It's been kind of hard to find out when and where, but from 4 to 7 at the Odd Shrine Temple. Tickets are $15 in advance from any board member. It's a great community outfit that has done a lot of good for the community and scholarships and endowments. Public hearing, we have 2 public hearings this evening. Public hearing A on the infrastructure improvements in the Bill and Irv's Properties Incorporated. Mr. Mulder.
So just a brief explanation of this. Bill and Irv's Properties is the approximately 11 acres at the intersection of the Lake Bypass and Highway 53, along Highway 53. Bill and Irv's Properties is owned by Bill Wilson and Mike Koski. They're looking at doing some development there. We've entered into a development agreement to build the necessary infrastructure as part of that. And then this is that public hearing where we would typically we would order the improvement following the public hearing and authorize the engineer to prepare plans and specs. But at this point, we're waiting on this project as part of the overall project with a Hawkline Business Park for some grant money to build that infrastructure.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this public hearing? Any public input on the infrastructure improvements in the Bill and Irv's Properties Incorporated agreement? Last opportunity to comment on the public hearing for infrastructure improvements for Bill and Irv's Properties. We will move to our second public hearing on infrastructure improvements in the Hawkline Business Park. Mr. Mulder.
Again, very similar is the Hawkline Business Park is approximately 35 acres at that intersection, but it does not abut Highway 53. It's behind Bill and Irv's property. Again, the Hawkline Business Park, we're looking at putting infrastructure in there and we have a development agreement with the owners of the Hawkline Business Park, and that they would agree to be assessed for a portion of those improvements.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Any public input on this public hearing? Any public input on infrastructure improvements in the Hawkline Business Park? Last opportunity for public input on the infrastructure improvements for the Hawkline Business Park. Moving on, communications are placed on file. Presentations, Mr. Mulder, could you give us a synopsis of the 2025 preliminary debt service budget presentation? We had a pre-agenda.
So Kevin Orm presented, he's the Director of Finance and Administration, presented the 2025 preliminary debt service. We have about $50 million in debt. A vast majority of that is paid by sales tax, either because of the wellness center or water and sewer improvements. And now we've issued additional debt for the arena and the park, Victor Park. So a vast majority of that debt is paid off using revenues from sales tax. It's about 80%. The other remaining amount is paid off in part by the water fund, but also the general levy. And the general levy, debt service levy, is increasing in 2025 because of our addition of the Hermantown Road project.
Thank you. Next, we have public discussion. This is the time that individuals can address the council about any item not on the agenda. We ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council? Is there anyone that wishes to address the council under public discussion? This is a final opportunity for general public discussion. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council? If so, start with your name and address. We will move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda contains minutes, approval, or correction of the September 16th, 2024 City Council continuation minutes and accounts payable, approved general city warrants from September 16th, 2024 through September 30th, 2024 in the amount of $2,163,303.52. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next, we have a first reading this evening on 4 different ordinances. The first one is 2024-09, an ordinance amending Hermantown Code of Ordinances, Section 270, fee schedule. Mr. Mulder, could you give us a short explanation of this amendment?
This is an annual resolution or ordinance that we have that changes some of the fees that the city charges. Primarily, in this one is the increase in the water rates because of the city of Duluth charging us an additional 9% for water. We are proposing approximately 7% increase. There's also an increase in the sewer charges of about, I believe it's 2%. And then we're increasing the stormwater fee by 3.25%. And there's a number of other fees that we've reviewed and increasing a couple of the other ones as well.
Thank you. We'll move to public input. Is there any public input on these? Any public input on this ordinance? First reading. Any input on ordinance 2024-09? We'll move on to 2024-10, an ordinance of the city of Hermantown amending and restated section 405, section of tetrahydrocannabinol products to regulate cannabis businesses. First reading, Mr. Mulder.
I'm going to ask either Eric Johnson or Gunnar Johnson to address that.
Great, thank you. I will start off here and I'll ask Mr. Gunnar Johnson to come in if there's any other information that we need. I'll just give kind of a brief overview of this. This applies to both this ordinance and the next one, number 11. So basically what this is where highlights of these two ordinance is the layout of the registration process for retail sales associated with cannabis use. The ordinance calls out for one retail store within the city limits. It also sets buffer requirements as they relate to schools, daycares, treatment facilities, athletic fields or parks, as well as they need to be at least a minimum of 500 feet from another cannabis retail business that may be in an adjoining community. This also speaks to specific zoning portions of the city where different things can happen, whether it be cultivation, manufacturing, transportation, retail, or delivery of cannabis-based products. It establishes retail sales hours associated with that, as well as regulates temporary cannabis events held throughout the city that way.
Thank you. Anything, Mr. Johnson? We're good? Any questions from council? Any public input on this first reading of an ordinance? Any public input on ordinance 2024-10? Do we have any public input on ordinance 2024-10? Hearing none, we'll move to 2024-11, an ordinance amending section 200, definitions, and chapter 5, land use regulations to regulate cannabis businesses. Mr. Mulder, should we have Mr. Johnson
Yes.
briefly on this?
So these are two sections associated with the zoning ordinance. The first one is the definitions of section 200. Defines different areas such as daycare, cannabis, et cetera, that way. And then lastly, section 500, excuse me. It's chapter 5. I deal with this one every day. I think I know this. But it's the land use requirements throughout the city, specifically, once again, where cannabis use can happen, whether it's one of those 5 elements that I spoke to previously.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Any public input on the first reading of this ordinance? Do we have any public input on ordinance 2024-11? Any public input on an ordinance relating to land use regulations to regulate cannabis businesses? Hearing none, we'll move on to ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance of the city of Hermantown, Minnesota, amending the city code section 210, council to increase the salaries of the mayor and council members. This is the first reading, Mr. Mulder.
During the pre-agenda, we talked about the rates. We should insert those rates. In my understanding, the proposed rates are $900 per month for the mayor and $675 for the city council.
Thank you. And that would be a $100 a month raise for the mayor and $75 a month for council, both amounting to 12.5% increase.
That's correct.
Any questions from council? Any public input on this ordinance? This is the first reading. Would note that the second reading and vote on these ordinances will take place at our next regularly scheduled Monday city council meeting. Any public input on ordinance 2024-12? Any public input on ordinance amending the code section 210, council to increase the salaries of the mayor and council members? Okay, we'll move to resolutions. Resolution 2024-192. Resolution authorizing and directing the city administrator and the assistant administrator to execute and deliver a business development infrastructure application. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc, second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
So we had previously approved a resolution to the same effect. After we submitted the grant application to the state of Minnesota, they asked us to revise the resolution with the dollar amount and to make sure that we had all of the numbers between the resolution and the grant application all matched. So this resolution simply changes the amount of money that we had said we had set aside. Instead of 2 million, it's 2.4 million.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
I just have a general question. With some of these resolutions, it's the mayor and city clerk, and on this one, it's the city administrator and assistant city administrator. What's the differential?
The reason this is authorizing the application,
Okay,
once we have if we're awarded the grant, there'll be an agreement. And then the agreement will have to be signed by the mayor and clerk.
okay. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2024-192? Any public input on the permission to deliver a business development infrastructure application? Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is resolution 2024-193, resolution appointing election judges for the statewide general election of November 5th, 2024. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. Mr. Mulder?
For each election, we need to appoint election judges. So this is for the general election, in November. Just a point, again, thanking these people, for their service to make sure that the election runs well.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? I also would like to thank the people that are participating in being election judges and our city clerk with some of the political discord that's been going on in the last few years. They could come under some criticism, and I give them an A+ for stepping up. We appreciate it. Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2024-193? Last opportunity for public input on the appointment of election judges for the statewide general election of November 5th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2024-194, resolution authorizing the disposal of surplus city property. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Mr. Mulder?
This is a procedure that we use whenever we get rid of city assets and surplus equipment. So we're asking to dispose of 3 lawnmowers and a pothole trailer that no longer are of use to us.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Did we replace the pothole trailer last year? Or was there talk of purchasing a new one? I should have asked it pre-agenda when Paul was here.
Yeah, and yes, but I don't remember the timing of that, if it was last year or, I don't remember the timing of that.
We're still able to do it though without contracting out that work.
We do most of that ourselves, yes.
Any other questions or comments from council? Any public input on the resolution authorizing the disposal of surplus city property? Any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-194? Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2024-195. Resolution authorizing and directing mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver tower and ground lease amendment to agreement between the city and American Towers LLC for the Cameron Road cell tower. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. Mr. Mulder?
I'm gonna let Ms. Trish Kriego explain this one.
Yes, thank you, Council and Mayor. This was just a renegotiation of a previous contract that was set forth, I believe, in 2020, but we renegotiated with the existing owner and just to come up with a better rate and years of locking in that contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
How long was the prior lease for?
I believe 25 years. Do you remember, Gunnar? Yeah. Yeah, it was 25 years, I believe, before, and then now it's 30, but
Better rate for us or better rate for them?
us somewhat, yeah. It differentiate, go ahead.
The rate went up for the city,
Perfect.
extended out a little bit, so there's a benefit for them. Benefit for the city is that they get a higher monthly rate.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on the authorization of the amendment to the cell tower lease for the Cameron Road cell tower? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-195? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Resolution 2024-196, resolution receiving preliminary engineering report and placing it on file for Mary Lane Road improvements and sanitary extension. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
Previously, the city council authorized the preparation of a feasibility report. That report was completed. We met with the affected residents approximately 2 weeks ago. And just given the cost of that, we just didn't feel like this was economically feasible at this point. So we communicated that with the residents, and therefore that recommendation is to simply accept the report and place it on file as opposed to calling for a public hearing.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2024-196? Any public input on the resolution receiving preliminary engineering report on Mary Lane Road improvements and sanitary extensions? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Resolution 2024-197, resolution approving change order number 3 for the North Star Ford Arena to Paul Bunyan Communications in the amount of $67,850.34. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Mr. Mulder?
In the process of the start of the building of the arena, we found that there's a fiber optics running where the new building went to be. So we have a quote here from Paul Bunyan to relocate that along Arrowhead and then Hawk Circle to connect the administration building with the elementary school.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on change order number 3 for the North Star Ford Arena? Any public input on resolution 2024-197? Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Resolution 2024-198, resolution approving change order number 4, 5, and 6, KA change order number 1 for the North Star Ford Arena in the amount of $70,187.44. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. Mr. Mulder?
So again, as part of the construction of the arena, as they were starting the foundation work, it was recommended that we add drain tile. So that is change order number 4 for approximately $38,000. There were some minor electrical revisions that we needed to make for just over $6,000. And then we wanted to reroute the existing sewer for the warming shack, but we didn't want that running under the new building. So we're running it around to the Ugsted side of the existing building, and it'll connect to a manhole just kind of behind the administration building.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Do we have any idea how much is left in our contingency budget at this point?
Off the top of my head, I want to say it's about $700,000.
Any other questions or comments? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2024-198? Any public input on the approval of change orders number 4, 5, and 6 for the North Star Ford Arena? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. 2024-199, resolution approving pay request number 4 for the North Star Arena to Kraus Anderson Construction Company in the amount of $399,787.50. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder.
This is for the work that's been done in the last month on the arena.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
They still on schedule? Do we know? I know
Yes,
it's early. I'm just curious if,
I mean, we were a little concerned about some of the permitting, but yeah, I feel like we're continuing to be on schedule.
Has the full permit been issued?
I do not think so, but I don't know that for sure. Oh, okay.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on approval of pay request number 4 for the North Star Ford Arena? Any public input on resolution 2024-199? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Resolution 2024-200, resolution approving final pay request for Road Improvement District 538 to Yulin Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $10,000. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Mr. Mulder.
This is the authorization to pay the final retainage that we had for the Hermantown Marketplace Road projects. So this would close out that project.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-200? Is there any public input on the resolution approving the final pay request for Road Improvement District number 538 to Yulin Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $10,000? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Resolution 2024-201, resolution approving final pay request for Benson Road Improvement Project District 601 to JMF Construction Incorporated in the amount of $89,527.86. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. Mr. Mulder.
So this was the work on Benson Road to replace the culvert and then also to extend Benson Road just a little ways that was paid for by the landowner. That work has been completed. So this is the both first and final pay application.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Hearing none, is there any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-201? Any public input on the resolution approving a final pay request for the Benson Road Improvement Project? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Resolution 2024-202, resolution approving pay request number 5 for Road Improvement District number 541 and 542 to Northland Constructors in the amount of $756,689.43. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion, motion by Counselor LeBlanc, second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder.
So this is the pay application for the work from August 26th to September 27th on Hermantown Road and the bridge on Hermantown Road.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Just one other comment. This project is also on schedule. All the work should be done by the end of October.
Thank you. Anything from council?
I know we talked about this last year, but I'm just drawing a blank. What is the date that we have to have blacktop down by? Is it the end of isn't there a date at the end of October?
So according to the MinDOT specifications, it's October 15th is the guideline. And then there's a clause in there where the engineer can waive that um, dependent on weather and the ability to achieve the necessary compaction.
Do we feel like blacktop's gonna be done by the 15th?
I'm not sure that all of it will be.
Okay.
But in my career, we've put many tons of blacktop down after October 15th that we have not had problems with. The biggest thing is keeping it warm and getting the densities that we require.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-202? Any public input on approving pay request number 5 to Northland Constructors? Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2024-203, resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver utility service agreement with RB Holdings. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Mr. Mulder?
So Russ Bradley, who is RB Holdings, was originally going to try to drill wells on that property along Hermantown Road. Was unable to do that, so he wants to extend the water main from Levake across his properties on Hermantown Road.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
I have two actually that I can think of offhand here. What side of Levake is that water main on? Are they gonna have to tear up Levake to get the water main across?
So the water main is in the intersection of Levake and Hermantown Road. And the main is on the,
West.
it's on the west side and there is a short stub there now, but we have to get into the road a little bit to make that connection.
And then my other question was, is the pipe sized correctly to support any future development or extension along Hermantown Road?
Yes, so we looked at that when this project was proposed a few years back, and Public Works Director and myself felt that 8-inch was the appropriate size that would connect Levake Road and in the future all the way west to Ugsted Road to create a loop. So an 8-inch is what we had specified.
This is not a private line then?
No, this will be a public main in the right of way of Hermantown Road. And the applicant their engineer has prepared a permit application through the Department of Health, which all water main extensions need to be permitted through.
Any other questions or comments? Is there any public input on this resolution? Is there any public input on resolution 2024-203? Do we have any public input on the resolution approving the utility service extension with RB Holdings? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2024-204. Resolution receiving bids and awarding contract to Vite Company Incorporated for the water main replacement project along Trunk Highway 53 between Airport Road and Cirrus Drive in the amount of $143,500. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. Mr. Mulder.
So this is a project to replace the water main along Highway 53. We went out for bid and the work is expected to be completed this year. I don't know if David wants to add anything more to that.
Mr. Golf.
So, yeah, Mayor and Council, this project was initiated because of the multiple breaks and repairs that we've had along this section. It's a 3-inch line. Our project will, we're gonna use a technology called pipe bursting, where we burst the pipe and replace it with a 6-inch line, and it's approximately 600 feet.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Just one follow-up. This is outside of the bituminous area and just totally, and there'll be no bituminous or road work that has to be passed back in yet this year?
The pipe is in the ditch of MnDOT's right of way. I believe we have one driveway that we have to cross, and there'll probably be a patch in Cirrus Drive where we make the connection.
And will that be able to get done yet this fall?
That's the goal, yes.
Plan, okay.
Cross your fingers.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2024-204? Do we have any public input on the awarding of a contract to Vite and Company to replace a water line between Airport Road and Cirrus Road on Trunk Highway 53? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Resolution 2024-205, resolution approving change order number 7 and 8 for Fichtner Park improvements to Caskey Incorporated in the amount of $143,171.40. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor LeBlanc. Mr. Mulder?
So this is a change order for Fichtner Park. One of them is to do some regrading and seeding for the T-ball field. And then the vast majority of it is for soil corrections under the parking lot along Uggstead Road. As you recall, we had some soil corrections that need to be done in the skate park area. And that bad soil is just continuing on into the parking area as well.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Is this the parking lot that we chose to add via change order a couple months ago?
Any other questions or comments? Any public input on this resolution? Any public input on approving change orders number 7 and 8 for Fichtner Park? Any public input on resolution 2024-205? Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next on our agenda is a closed session, a motion to close the meeting of the Hermantown City Council pursuant to Minnesota statute section 13D.05 subdivision 3B per attorney-client privilege for discussions with the city attorney to consider threatened litigation on assessments. Following this closed session, the Hermantown City Council will reconvene into an open session. Do we have a motion for the closed session?
Move to close.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Geisler. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.